So guys, it's David here, and it's currently day 339. I hope you guys had a wonderful day and are doing better than yesterday. But the time is currently 6:47, and today I woke up just feeling sore as heck, and the last thing I wanted to do was get up and go to the gym. But I know that the soreness will eventually go away, like any pain, like any emotions we feel in the moment. It will go away. But if we just lay there and do nothing, we are making the choice of not doing anything. And sometimes that is the most easiest thing to do. And at the moment, it may seem like the most rational. If you feel pain, sleep in. If you feel tired, don't wake up. If you feel afraid, don't face your fears. Right? That's almost the most logical thing. But when we actually give it our conscious thought and think over the situation, we realize that if we don't do this, then we may never actually become great in life. If we don't wake up when we're tired, then we may never wake up early and create more time for ourselves. So sometimes you have to think deeper than your initial state of thinking. And that is clear thinking. We have to understand that our first thought usually will be wrong. Our first thought usually will be just a deceit on ourselves, trying to pull ourselves away from facing our real problems. So, yes, today I do feel sore, but I noticed that even though I felt sore yesterday, I still persisted to go to the gym. And guess what? I didn't really lose my strength or power. Matter of fact, I was increasing my repetition and strength on some workouts. However, I did notice my deadlifts went improving, but this is also because I stopped binge eating. Therefore, I didn't have all this excess calories. So much things has changed in the past week. So it is it is uncertain for me to make any conclusion now. Saying that just because I train 2 times a day doesn't necessarily mean I am losing muscle or losing my muscle building potential. It is way too early to say, and although I feel tired, although I feel sore, that is also because I have freaking heavy dudes laying on me. Sounds very weird, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. But I cannot make a conclusion based on my decisions at the moment. And that is really all it is about making good decisions, is to experiment, right? Experiment, have some time to experiment with your choices. And look, at the end of the day, if I am not improving on my weightlifting journey, then I have to cut down on training MMA. And if training MMA isn't going to be proficient because I am not doing many classes, then maybe I'll just quit that in total and just focus on bodybuilding like my original goal anyways. So really, I'll just see how it goes. But today, main focus, go to the gym, right? Come back from that, read some book, finish reading Clear Thinking, and perhaps start on another book. So after that, some coding, and then I have work. So no more double training, and I'm gonna take the rest of the week off. That is the plan. So a lot of things to get done, but overall, I am excited. I feel eager to do this. I just feel grateful to be here every single day to make the right decisions in life. Therefore, I'll see you guys in a bit. Today at training, I didn't progress in my lifts. Rather, I was going backwards. I noticed that training 2 times a day for the past 3 days has definitely impacted me on either my recovery, or it has gave my muscles some fatigue to really push towards that next height. However, it is way too soon for me to conclude that training 2 times a day for 3 days in a row will affect my overall performance in the gym, even though at the moment the signs are clear that I am being affected. But also, there are so many other factors that I have manipulated in the past week that could have resulted, and it definitely had impacted my performance in the gym. So I cannot just make a decision today and say that starting MMA has affected my performance at the gym. Although it could have, I think I need more time to really reevaluate and make a wise decision. Because the last thing I want to do is say to myself, David, you have hit your limits. therefore you have to back down and you have reached your potential, because we never get close to reaching our full potential. And sometimes when we think that we have reached our limits, we are just, in fact, lazy. We are still getting used to this new level of normalcy, meaning that we have surpassed our comfort zone and we are in this new state where we are forming new discipline, right? We are forming new strength. But that area of remolding ourselves, of upgrading our competence is uncomfortable. But eventually we become used to that. It is like starting to run a marathon. At the start, you may dread the feeling of running, just sprinting, right? You may not keep up jogging for 30 minutes, but over time you get better. And this goes for the same. Eventually you will get better. But don't admit failure and set a limiting belief on yourself, saying that you have hit your maximum potential simply because the going got hard, simply because you don't sleep as well as night as you used to be. Because you first will have to experience pain, discomfort, and perhaps doubt in yourself. But once you do, and once you get comfortable with that, guess what? You become a more competent person. You become a more knowledgeable person. And eventually, due to time, you will want to test your limits once again. And when that happens, you'll realize that, hey, my first initial thought that I had reached my maximum potential was only a safeguard I put for myself to not stretch my boundaries, to not go beyond and above my comfort zone. And when you do go above and beyond, you realize that the limit is honestly endless. And the glass ceiling of limitation you have set for yourself at the beginning, you will want to regret your decision for not breaking free from your comfort zone much earlier. Because all of us have a deep flame within us. And the ones who see it are the ones who refuse to go as they have set for themselves at the beginning. They refuse to accept their own limits and the limits society and the world have put on them. But rather they are furious. They challenge the status quo. They challenge themselves and really reinvent themselves into the person they think they deserve to become. But talking about this, lately doing the reinventing and really refining this flame within me has been somewhat of a challenge because I have got used to, or perhaps comfortable, being lazy. And I know it's a sad thing to say, but when you are distracted with something, it is so easy to continue on to be distracted by the thing. It is much difficult then to pick yourself back up and say that you have the ability to make a stand and change for the better. But sometimes you have to realize that we all make decisions at the end of the day. And sometimes you have to realize that the choice you make today may just be of that it is more comfortable to make. It may just be the choice of habit. And the only way to really understand this is to be conscious and present. Because ever since finding myself in present, in to find myself in the here and now, I managed to make better decisions, and those led to better choices. I no longer resulted in my habitual habits of self-destruction. I realized what I want now and what now will get me for the long-term vision. And by doing so, it has allowed me to become more happy, more fulfilled, and more content with life. Content in a way that I still seek for more, but now I understand that what I do every single day, it is going to get me more from life. And that is contentment. That is being present, because once you are present, you no longer see the things that have distracted you as amusing or amazing as it used to become, because those distractions become clear to you that they are a hindrance to your potential, that they are stopping you from becoming the person you told yourself you were going to become. So stop being so ambitious and lazy. If you want something from life, go and get it. And sometimes, if you don't fight for your urges, if you don't fight for your desires, you will become complacent. But just realize, if you are complacent, it is nobody's fault. I used to think it's everybody's fault. And when I became complacent, I put the blame on everyone else, hoping that if I was with a different set of friends, if I was in a different circumstance, then my tables would turn. But the thing is, when I became present once again, I realized that the reason for my failure today isn't because I'm not around amazing people or I'm not around that amazing family full of ambition, but rather it is because I choose to make the wrong choice. And that is everything in life, is to make choices. Life is choices, but rather make great decisions, make conscious and present decisions so that the choice you make today is not something familiar, but of creative thinking, something that is unfamiliar and is going to set you up for future success. That being said, I hope you guys will learn something from this. And I do know I will enjoy my shift today because it has been a while since I had gone outside my house and meet some people. And honestly, going to work, that is the only thing that I find meaningful, is to meet new people and perhaps start new conversations and practice this thing I am, well, not the best at, which is social connection skills. But that being said, I hope you guys had learned something from this. But if not, like always, I'll be here for you guys tomorrow. But until then, good night.